Hi, it's Chris from Driver Training Limited with the recent 2025 update to the driving test to include more fast-moving roads, more rural roads. We just thought we'd give you an idea of one of the potential test routes you might face, which is from Morrison's and Wellington through to Apley, and some of the potential pitfalls you may face if you get this route. The first is as you come down this road, you notice it gets narrower. So you've got potential meeting situations, but it's to remember at this point, this road is still 30 miles an hour. Doesn't mean that it's safe to even do that because now it becomes, in effect, a single track road as we come down. So it's just looking out for anything that's coming from the opposite direction. You may need to slow down or stop. Just be aware of these things. In the distance, we can see our first potential problem. The speed limit now becomes national speed limit. It doesn't mean that it's safe to do it though. So as you can see from the roads, you've just got to keep thinking, but what if something comes the other way? Are there any passing places? That's the areas at the side that are a bit wider to allow you to pull in or to allow you to stop opposite it, like this bit here, so that other vehicles can pull into it. All the time we're looking ahead thinking, what if something comes round that bend? Could be a delivery van, tractor, and we can already see the car ahead of us. However, he has that passing space on the right, which is a driveway, so he can pull into that to let us through. But if we're prepared for it and thinking ahead of time, it won't be an issue. Again, as we're coming down, we're just thinking the same thing. What if there's a tractor, a milk lorry, a car coming the other way? We can see in the distance there is. But again, on this occasion, you can see them pulling in. So less space, less speed. There is a passing place on the other side. So again, just slowly through. Now, if you're going to go into it, but you see it's really muddy or it's quite deep, you wouldn't want to go into it because otherwise you're going to get bogged down and have to wait for the AA or a tractor to pull you back out of it. We can now see in the distance the speed limit now becomes 30. Still looking for vehicles coming from the opposite direction, looking for passing places. Maybe if you don't have one, and the other vehicle hasn't seen one, you may end up having to reverse. So it's good practice. And as we come into the village of Rockwoodine, this is the bit that most people miss, the speed limit change on the left. You can see that it becomes from this point 20, and it's really important to keep that in mind, and I'll tell you why in a bit. Now here they'll ask you to take the next road on the right. This is a Y junction or a fork junction. We're going to go right, but we have to look for vehicles coming in from ahead because we have to give way. As we turn, we're going to go right at the end, but we've got to look for any approaching traffic from the left and from the right, because with those parked cars there, it means that we're going to turn on the wrong side of the road. So you really have to make sure that you're taking effective observations. Look, assess, decide, and act. As we approach the bend, this is where again a lot get it wrong. Now if you look at the road markings, the centre line bends round to the right. The lines on the left tell us that is a different road. So your road just naturally bends round to the right. The road gets narrow, so what if something comes round the corner? Delivery van, truck, milk lorry, keep it slow. Remember, it is still 20 at this point. The amount of times we have people get to this point where you can see the speed limit changes now to 30, and they say, when was it ever 20? But now the road widens up, but it's still 30. It's so easy to go over the limit at this point. We have passing places on the left if it was needed. Driveways can be used to just pull into slightly. Now, once you pass that sign, it becomes 40. But we're still looking for vehicles coming the other way. We can see the mud on the road, so we've got to be aware of slippery conditions. Now looking ahead, there's a couple of things that we need to be aware of. The first is the change of speed limit. We're going back down into a 30. The second one, and just as importantly, is the give way sign telling us there's a junction coming up. Again, the amount of people that go to drive straight across. Now with this junction, there's an added hazard. Anything coming over that bridge, like a lorry or a tractor, is going to be in the middle of the road. So you might think I've got enough time to pull out, and you may have, but you won't have the gap, because they're going to be coming across slap bang in the middle of that bridge. So again, the importance of looking, assessing, deciding, and acting. Now, as we come down, we can see it's a big, wide, open road, but remember, that speed limit is still 30. We're looking at the lamppost. There's no repeater sign saying 40 or 50. So we know for a fact this is a 30-mile-an-hour road. Ahead of us, we can see a crossroads. Now, very often the cars try and shoot across before you get there, especially if it's busier times. So try and pay attention to anything potentially in front, because there you have nothing to tell you that it's a crossroads coming up. So you have to have a look. Is there a gap on the right, a gap on the left? Therefore, we know it's a crossroads. Our next thing to look out for is our change of limit. Now we're going back to our 40. As the road widens, keep by that left curb or else you end up straddling both lanes as you see this pupil doing. As we come off the roundabout, what's our speed limit? Well, if you remember, we passed a 40 sign a bit ago and it hasn't changed at this point. So this section is still 40 miles an hour. So a lot of the times people think it's back to a 30 and it's not. Our final thing to look out for is the change now to 50 miles an hour. So if it's safe and clear to, just get to it.